I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am continuing reading in a chronological order, according to event, not according to publication or volume, so I'm skipping around a bit as I move along. We continue with Alma, and what we've been reading here, Malachi is now king among the Lamanites. His first attempt at invading the Nephite lands was a pathetic failure. For the next 4 years we have peace, or at least relative peace, because it's during this time that Moroni brings his armies out to the wilderness on the east and west, driving the Lamanites south and setting up a line from the East Sea to the West Sea, separating the land of the Lamanites from the land of the Nephites. He builds up fortresses, first time in the history of the children of Lehi. That's what we were reading last time. That was the beginning of chapter 50. We're going to finish chapter 50 now. We'll pick it up in verse 25. And it came to pass that in the commencement of the 24th year of the reign of the judges, there would also have been peace among the people of Nephi, had it not been for a contention which took place among them concerning the land of Lehi and the land of Morianton, which joined upon the borders of Lehi, both of which were on the borders of the seashore. For behold, the people who possessed the land of Morianton did claim a part of the land of Lehi. Therefore there began to be a warm contention between them, insomuch that the people of Morianton took up arms against their brethren, and they were determined by the sword to slay them. But behold, the people who possessed the land of Lehi fled to the camp of Moroni, and appealed unto him for assistance, for behold, they were not in the wrong. And it came to pass that when the people of Morianton, who were led by a man whose name was Morianton, found that the people of Lehi had fled to the camp of Moroni, they were exceedingly fearful, lest the army of Moroni should come upon them and destroy them. Therefore Morianton put it into their hearts that they should flee to the land which was northward, which was covered with large bodies of water, and take possession of the land which was northward. And behold, they would have carried this plan into effect, which would have been a cause to have been lamented. But behold, Morianton being a man of much passion, therefore he was angry with one of his maidservants, and he fell upon her and beat her much. And it came to pass that she fled and came over to the camp of Moroni, and told Moroni all things concerning the matter, and also concerning their intentions to flee into the land northward. Now behold, the people who were in the land bountiful, or rather Moroni, feared that they would hearken to the words of Morianton and unite with his people, and thus he would obtain possession of those parts of the land which would lay foundation for serious consequences among the people of Nephi, yea, which consequences would lead to the overthrow of their liberty. Therefore Moroni sent an army with their camp to head the people of Morianton, to stop their flight into the land northward. And it came to pass that they did not head them until they had come to the borders of the land desolation. And there they did head them by the narrow pass which led by the sea into the land northward, yea, by the sea on the west and on the east. And it came to pass that the army which was sent by Moroni, which was led by a man whose name was Teancum, did meet the people of Morianton. And so stubborn were the people of Morianton, being inspired by his wickedness and his flattering words, that a battle commenced between them, in the which Teancum did slay Morianton and defeat his army, and took them prisoners, and returned to the camp of Moroni. And thus ended the 24th year of the reign of the judges over the people of Nephi. And thus were the people of Morianton brought back, and upon their covenanting to keep the peace, they were restored to the land of Morianton, and a union took place between them and the people of Lehi, and they were also restored to their land. And it came to pass that in the same year that the people of Nephi had peace restored unto them, that Nephihah, the second chief judge, died, having filled the judgment seat with perfect uprightness before God. Nevertheless, he had refused Alma to take possession of those records, and those things which were esteemed by Alma and his fathers to be most sacred. Therefore Alma had conferred them upon his son Helaman. Behold, it came to pass that the son of Nephihah was appointed to fill the judgment seat in the stead of his father. Yea, he was appointed chief judge and governor over the people, with an oath and sacred ordinance to judge righteously, and to keep the peace and the freedom of the people, and to grant unto them their sacred privileges to worship the Lord their God, yea, to support and maintain the cause of God all his days, and to bring the wicked to justice according to their crimes. Now behold, his name was Pahoran. And Pahoran did fill the seat of his father, and did commence his reign in the end of the 24th year over the people of Nephi. So we have two major events going on in this year, the 24th year. We have the rebellion of Morianton. Now let's do a little bit of geography again. Because remember, there was the east wilderness and the west wilderness, making the horseshoe kind of around the land of Zarahemla. And you had Zarahemla, and you had the land Bountiful. Now, the land Bountiful, that's a land, that's not a city. That's just the northern part of the Nephite land. And above that is the land Desolation, where nobody lives. Now, Morianton and Lehi, they're on the east coast, on the shore. Which means that Morianton is probably even farther east than the land of Jershon. Jershon is probably, you have Zarahemla in the center, and then you have Jershon and Antionum, where the Zoramites were, and then you have the east wilderness. Now that east wilderness has been cleared, and Lehi and Morianton are there on the coast, just east of Jershon. But Morianton's people are starting to claim part of Lehi's land, and want to take it by force. But they're a little scared to face Moroni, so when it becomes apparent that they will have to either face the army or flee, they choose to flee. The idea is to get into the land northward, into the land of Desolation, because nobody is there. Nobody has claimed that land yet. But Moroni knows that if they make it up there, they will become an enemy to the people of Nephi. And now, once again, he's done all this work to drive the Lamanites south. If Morianton gets north, he's going to have the Lamanites on the south and the Morianton guys up north. That's a bad idea for national security. That's why they head off the army. They don't want to get surrounded by their enemies. They have the big battle. Morianton is killed. Once he is killed, the rest of the army surrenders. They come back, they enter a covenant, and they go back to their lands, and they make it, as this is, to make a union with the people of Lehi. All the disputes are settled. And shortly after this, we have that second event, the death of Nephihah. Now this is only a few years after Alma has been translated, which shows us that Nephihah, most likely, was of the same generation as Alma and the sons of Mosiah, making him probably also in his 70s. This means his son Pahoran is of the generation of Helaman, which would put them in their late 40s, early 50s, meaning that Helaman and Pahoran are both about 15 to 20 years older than Moroni. Pahoran, he is elected by the people. He is nominated probably by his father, but he is not simply inserted by his father. He's not given the judgment seat by his father. He is elected by the people. And they say he is sworn in with a covenant, with an oath and an ordinance. So they had their oath of office, and they had their swearing in, just like we do in the United States when the president takes office. They are sworn in. The governor, the chief judge, was sworn in. Probably this was part of King Mosiah's law that he set down to regulate the judges. So we have all this. It's all set. We're all good. And now we come, this is really where we get the next era in the time of the Nephites. We have the era of Alma. And even though Alma, he's gone for a number of years, it's not really till we get the death of Nephihah, because Nephihah was the judge while Alma was there. So this is where we kind of move into the next era in the record. It's still the time of the judges, but now we're going to have the great wars and everything, and it's a new time among the Nephites. But we leave that here, and I will see you in the next chapter.